Hey there. So today I want to take a few minutes to talk about how to get into the zone, how to get into that place where you're like cruising and everything's easy and you're taking pleasure from what you're doing. And even though you're doing hard things, it's very easy to spend hours and hours and lose yourself in it and make progress without even thinking about it. Right? It's that easy. You're cruising. And usually, getting into that zone is what you want, right? If you want to be productive, if you want to achieve things, you want to get into that zone. Doing as much as you can is, get you places in terms of long-term projects, but as well as short-term projects. You could see work or reading these papers as each paper you're going to read or each project you're going to work on as like these short-term self-contained things where you need to reach that zone of productivity and like being in the zone. We're gonna call it like that. And so, yeah, I want to talk about how to reach it because it's of course something that's gonna have good outcomes in your life. Also makes you happy and all of these things. And so, my when I started thinking about it, I always thought that I could. When I was younger, I thought I could just live my life based on motivation alone. And whenever I'm motivated, getting in the zone is very easy. Like I want to learn about this thing. I want to learn about. I want to like write this application. I have a project. Things get very easy. But when I don't have that, because I have to work on something or I start a new project and it's the unknown. Like I don't really know what it's about, and I don't have that initial motivation factor. Then getting in the zone is not that easy. And most of the stuff you're going to do in life is basically that. Like you start from scratch. You don't start in this with this initial motivation boost factor, and so you have to figure out how to get into the zone. And so most of what I do, I know people who are very disciplined and get in the zone very easily. I work with a lot of these people, but a lot of other people are not like that. I'm not like that. I'm a very chaotic person and I need to trick my brain to get into that zone. And that's basically most of what I do like in my life is finding ways, and I believe I'm pretty good at this, is finding ways to trick my brain and to sort of understand the meta and how to get into these nice zones faster and more efficiently. And so if you're part of the first cohort of people that don't have trouble, who are very disciplined and don't have trouble getting there, which is a pretty rare, percentage of people, then you're probably wondering why I'm doing this video, and you can stop here. But if you're like more like me and you're more chaotic and you need to understand how to get into that zone, then probably this is a good video for you. And so what I've realized is that getting into the zone always starts from the same point. It always starts with effort, and that effort is painful. Like your brain hurts, you get tired easily, it's hard to make progress because you don't understand anything. And basically you have to take things slow. At this point you have to slow down and read. If you're looking at a code base, for example, you have to slow down and just read one function, like focus on one thing. If you have to understand some more fundamental stuff like the language, or read some papers or some foundational mathematics or like whatever, then take the time to do that. Be slow, like really take it slow, but make progress, right? Like make like these small, track your small wins, make progress, while not trying to like rush through things because you're not in the zone yet. You're gonna have to be slow, and understanding that you're gonna have to go through that period of pain. Understanding that that's part of the process is already 50% of the work. Whenever you're starting from scratch and you're trying to get in the zone, understanding that that's the process and it's going to be painful, that's 50% of it. The other 50% of it is basically managing to get you to do that thing, to go through that process. Okay, understanding the process is one thing, going through that painful process is the other one. And to go through that painful process, I think you sort of have to ignore that you're in that painful process. If you think of all the work you, because it's a multi-day, sometimes a week process, like, or multi-weeks also, right? So if you think of all the work you're going to have to do, you're never going to do it. Actually, everybody who's done any long-term projects will tell you that if they have they had started their project thinking of all the work they would have to do, they would never have started the project. They would never have started the startup, or they would never have started that open source project. They would never have started reading or writing that paper or book. I mean, myself, I would never have written a book if I understood the amount of work. It took me like 2 years and a half to write it, with no weekends, basically no holidays. Pretty tough 2 years and a half. Um, so don't think about it. Don't just think of the end goal. The end goal is like you're gonna be in the zone. You're gonna be happy. You're gonna make progress. You're gonna get all the outcome that you want, which is accomplish stuff and have the outputs that you're seeking. Focus on that. Don't focus on all the hard part. When you're doing all the hard part, just make sure that you're focusing on what's in front of you. Live in the present. Don't think about all the work that you have to do. Just take pleasure in like focusing on what's in front of you. Take pleasure in tracking the small wins. Um, and trick your brain, right? Like people talk about this like vitamin N, like being able to say no. And in that moment, it's really being able to say no to distractions. So put all the chances in your corner for when you're gonna start getting into that painful path before the being in the zone. So make sure that you have scheduled time in your calendar. You've cleared out your calendar. That nobody's gonna distract you. You're gonna have long hours in front of you, um, and make sure that you're ready to say no to any distractions. Put your phone away as far as not in sight. Um, Set some timers, pomodoros, like whatever. Do all you can to get yourself through that painful phase, basically. um, and I've seen brilliant people talking about these things. So I think it's something that at one point or another you have to figure out for yourself. I remember, I think Guillermo from Bain Capital like was tweeting about. I don't want to paraphrase it because I don't remember exactly, but he was saying something like reading papers is all about mental games. And my understanding of it was that you sort of have to like mentally trick yourself in not giving up, in persisting. And through that persistence and not giving up and going through these like, mentally hard phases, that's when you can, at some point get out of the tunnel and see the light. And actually, then it's all pleasure. Then you're in the zone, you're cruising, and it's fun, and you don't feel bad about yourself, and all these good things. And anybody can reach that zone. It's all about being able to put yourself through that painful, non distraction, slow progress, overwhelming. I call it the drowning phase, and being able to go through it. And not only that, being able to, with experience, and as you get more and more discipline, it's about getting through that period to starting that period, starting the pain period as soon as you can. It's similar to the blank page problem for writers. So starting it is one thing, and then persistently staying in it, right? So you have to start that painful period. And if you think about it too much, you're never going to start it. And then once you're in it, it's about staying in it. Once you've gone through that initial period of like, oh my God, I can't understand anything, I'm never going to be. If you just calm down, get through that painful period, once you get through it, then everything is so easy afterwards. Everything is so pain free, pleasurable. Again, being in the zone is a wonderful thing, and that's how you get through. That's how you produce most of the good outcome in your life. So I think that's it. I don't want to take too much time. These pretty simple concepts, but at some point or another, we need someone to remind that concept to ourselves. Uh, in this case, it's my own reminder, but hopefully that's useful for someone else. If you're going through such a period, or if you're having trouble disciplining yourself, that's a reminder that everybody struggles with that, and there are tricks that you can use. And yeah, if you're in that zone, that painful period right now, then good luck. Persist. Don't give up. Get to the light.